but I'm also ignoring all of the the external influences like stress and stuff, and I'm just narrowing down my focus of attention, and that's what meditation really is, narrowing down the focus of your attention. Now, I'm going to skip forward a bit because I need to fit this into a smaller video than the one I made just now, which turned out to be an hour and a half long. So the next stage is, say that you've reached sleep paralysis, and you're at this stage where you can't really feel your body anymore, and you might get some hallucinations, for example. Obviously your eyes are closed, but you might be starting to see things, and that's great. This is where the next stage is. If you can't get to this stage, then well, I'll do another video on that or something, but give it some time and you will get to the stage. If you stay in the same spot and you don't move for long enough, even if your eyes are open, you will hit sleep paralysis as long as you concentrate. So it's about concentration up till now. Now this is the hard bit. Let me just get my WordPad open with this. The next part is focusing your attention. Okay, now focusing your attention is really hard to do. It's hard, not really hard to do, but really hard to describe actually. But I found a good explanation for it. Now, right now, I mean, hopefully you're not meditating, because I'd prefer you to wait, take note of everything I've said, and then do it. But right now, just close your mouth, and now think about your tongue. Move your tongue around in your mouth. Roll it along your teeth and the top of your mouth and the bottom of your mouth, and just imagine what life is like for a tongue. Imagine the tongue is what you are. This might sound stupid, but go with it. And imagine like this mouth is, your reality, your world, and you can only ever live in this mouth. And over time, if you keep concentrating on your tongue, what you're doing is you're focusing your attention. You might even go as far as to get so focused on your tongue that you might get a little bit claustrophobic in the small mouth. And that's what you're doing, is you're putting yourself into that part of your body, and you're feeling that part of the body. And you can safely say that what you just felt with your tongue, and what life would be for your tongue, you haven't really felt about any other part of your body really ever. You're only really up in your head when you're thinking. And just move your tongue around again. I'm going to do it now. It's really easy to just focus all of your attention on your tongue and just, imagine what it would be like in your mouth. This is called focusing your attention, okay? Now what I mean by that is I'm picking a part of my body and I'm feeling that part of the body, not physically, I'm not stroking it or moving, well, we were moving our tongue around, but what you're doing is you're just focusing on that part. Now try and do it for maybe your hand. Rest your hand down and just feel your hand. If your hand's resting on your leg or your desk, feel that sensation of the desk on your hand. Now what we're doing here is we're focusing our attention on the hand. Now, you don't really do this in everyday life, unless, of course, you have a pain somewhere. Then you tend to naturally feel that part of the body. And you can safely say that, feeling your hand, or maybe your knee, or something like that, you've never really done. It's a strange thing to do, you wouldn't really need to do it. But, the reason I'm talking about this is because it's focusing your attention. Okay, now, when you're in this state, you're lying down, you've hit sleep paralysis. That basically turns off your senses of feeling and that. Now you can't hear anything, hopefully, or you're concentrating so much that you don't hear anything. That's cutting off the sound, and obviously your eyes are shut, so you shouldn't really be seeing anything. Now, when people are in this state, they still kind of feel they're in their head. And what I mean by this is, if you close your eyes right now, you get the idea that if you open them, you'll be in your head. However, technically, if you close your eyes, you don't necessarily have to be in your head still. You can even be on your toes. Like the center of your body could be in your toes. Bear with me here. What I'm trying to do here is just talk about where you are in your body when you're not completely aware of it. For example, when people close their eyes, they kind of see their eyelids, like the darkness behind their eyelids. But and when you're in this meditative state, after such a long time, you kind of drift from being behind your eye socket and being this person to maybe expanding and becoming this excuse me, becoming this like a big being. And what you want to do is you want to experiment with different parts of your body. For example, you can focus your attention on your heart, and then instead of being very small, you could possibly expand it. If you can't move away from your head, and what I mean by that is if you feel rooted in your head still, you feel like you're behind your eye sockets, this is where your consciousness is, what I mean. And if you feel you can't move out, then that's fine. You can experience some crazy stuff. I mean, I'm just talking about things you can do. This is the part of meditation where you're completely in it in terms of your body. You just need to concentrate on whatever you want your meditation to do. Now, in the centre of your brain, there's a gland called the pineal gland, and that has huge significance with meditation and dreaming. I won't go into it, but what you could try and do is you could try and feel that spot like we were feeling our tongue earlier. And if you feel it long enough, or if you try to feel it long enough, even if you can't feel it and you're thinking about trying to feel it, that's perfectly fine. What you're doing here is you're concentrating so hard on something that without the senses, you're concentrating, you're focusing down your reality on a point or something like that, and it's just gonna, if you keep doing it for a long time, if you keep messing around and experimenting, then you're going to hit different sensations that you've never had before. For example, there's a movie called Waking Life, and there's a quote in it where a guy is doing some lucid dreaming, which is basically an out-of-body experience. And he's if you can imagine yourself rooted in your head, when I was talking about focusing your attention, and you're maybe visualizing. Why only visualize that you can see, like in your normal eyesight? Why don't you stretch your eyesight around the back of your head so you can see in all directions? This is possible in meditation because, as I said, there's no limits. In fact, why do you need to have to see? Why can't you just, experiment with stuff? This is really a playground with no limits, and the only limits that you're going to hit are your own walls. For example, right, in this meditative state, it is very possible to think of the biggest object possible. Okay, so you've got this object that's the biggest biggest size possible. Now, only in meditation can you do this. Once you've got this object, you can double it, and you can keep doubling it infinity, because in meditation there are no limits. Okay. Now, the last stage of this got a bit hasty. I did some bad explaining. But once you've gotten past the sleep paralysis, you can do anything. Now, the reason I was a bit hasty, and the reason I didn't talk too much or too easily about it, is because this is where techniques come into play. And as I said at the start, I'm only going to talk about the core, what you're really doing in these stages. You can Google. What I prefer is to have no technique, to have this meditative state as a playground which you can run in and roam around. If you can't experience anything crazy, maybe after your fifth time, or you keep going, then you can use a technique. But in my opinion, using a technique only waters down your potential for experiences. Now, I end with this note. Using this technique basis I've just talked about, I have had some explosive feelings of ecstasy, and it was happening when I was trying to feel the centre of my brain as I did with my tongue. And what it just felt like I wasn't a person anymore. It just felt like I was expansive, that there was no end to me, and any concept of body or being in my room was just completely out the window. I was not even on this world. And it sounds a bit crazy, you might think I'm a bit of a lunatic, but give it a go and prove me wrong. Prove yourself wrong, because you've got really nothing to lose apart from maybe 40 minutes of trying. The last point I'm going to talk about is, if it doesn't work out for you the first time or the second time, I would urge you to keep going. It's like riding a bike. If you can't do it the first time, then you might be a bit disappointed, but you kept it going. And it's really hard to motivate people to meditate, because obviously if you're riding a bike, you can see people riding around, so you know what the finished product looks like, so you can try and go for, it motivates you to try and learn to ride because other people are doing it and they look really cool. But with meditation, you can't really do that. In fact, you can't really explain meditation, so the concept of other people meditating and you trying to reach that level is really hard to grasp, and in terms of motivation,